Hey everyone, this is Gaming Emblem, and today we're doing an early review of the RX-0 Unicorn Gundam for Mobile Suit Gundam Battle Operation 2. Before we get started, I want to thank the folks at Bandai Namco and BB Studios for reaching out to me and allowing my channel early access to information about Unicorn Gundam, so we can have this video ready for the launch. I also want to add that none of the gameplay in this video is mine, and upon recording, I have not had the chance to play the suit or see any official info outside of my included notes. So my impressions may change on release once I've had a chance to see the Unicorn in the wild. Unicorn Gundam is going to be a 700 cost general unit, and while I do not have a listed rarity in my notes, I'm going to assume it's going to be a 4-star suit. The Unicorn's primary range weapon is its popular beam Magnum. In lore, the weapon uses entire E-caps as magazines, but thankfully there doesn't seem to be a limitation on how much you can fire the Magnum, and it seems you can fire another shot shortly after the first one without reloading. Charge time for the Magnum is fast, and seems to be about 2 to 3 seconds long. With the given videos, I don't know if an uncharged shot will stun or not at this time though. Also, it doesn't seem that the Beam Magnum shares some of the properties that it has from the show, such as being lethal even if it doesn't score a direct hit. Although, if you're playing from the same side of the globe as me, lag will probably take care of that part of the lore for you. Unicorn Gundam's next weapon is the Hyper Bazooka. This one is equipped with scatter rounds, which act like a shotgun blast. The Scatter Bazooka seems to perform like its predecessors, and fires a bazooka shell that explodes outwards after reaching a certain distance or getting close enough to an enemy unit. One thing to note is that the Scatter Bazooka actually has enough build-up to stun units mid-boost and break their maneuver armor. This is pretty good, and will be very useful for holding front lines and pushing. Lastly, for range weapons, the Unicorn has Vulcans. While I do not know the range or damage at this time, the fire rate seems to be pretty good, and a stun occurs after about 25 or 26 hits. Moving on to the Unicorn's melee kit, you only get one melee weapon in the form of the Beam Saber. The attacks with the Beam Saber look to pull from the Federation's standard playbook and offer pretty good range and coverage with its hitbox. With the current range of weapons, Unicorn seems like it might have less options than something like the new Gundam, but this is where their suit really starts to open up. Just like in the show, Unicorn Gundam also comes equipped with NTD, or New Type Destroy mode. When your HP reaches a currently unspecified threshold, the player is able to activate NTD by pressing the touchpad. And similar to Exam and Hades, NTD recovers the HP of the Unicorn's parts. But here's another big point. NTD's activation also deactivates any side commute weapons for enemy units in a certain area. But it does come with a downside, as Unicorn takes damage over time during NTD's activation. At the time of making this video, I do not know what stats get improved upon activating NTD, but I would assume from watching my provided clips that you get the usual turn speed increase and general buff to offense and defense. The other important thing to note with the activation of NTD is that Unicorn has its melee weapons unlocked upon activation. This translates to the suit having its single beam saber upgraded to 2 sabers, and access to the suit's beam tonfas. With this melee kit upgrade, it makes me wonder why this thing isn't a raid. Anyway, the melee attack pattern changes in NTD when you use the dual sabers. You get a pretty generous looking neutral and side swing, along with a pretty solid advancing downswing that hits twice. The beam tonfa also has a pretty solid looking attack pattern, and I think the most noteworthy is its neutral attack. Unicorn just stabs forward, but if this has the extended hitbox of suits like the O, the tonfa should be a good raw melee opener that's hard to punish. At this point, you might be thinking that Unicorn just looks like a better version of the Sazabi, and you might be right, but the suit does have one more trick you can use. While in NTD, another press of the touchpad changes Unicorn into its awakened form. And upon activation, you recover HP, and according to my notes, this is not part HP, although your parts do get recovered again, but your mobile suit health gets recovered. The HP loss effect is removed, and you gain a buff that reduces damage taken, but you also deal less damage as a result. I didn't mention the Unicorn Shield before, but since it gets an upgrade from NTD, I'll mention it now. During NTD in Awaken mode, the Unicorn Shield opens up and gains an eye field effect. It looks like this just reduces the damage taken on shield hits from beam weapons. My notes do not mention anything specific aside from damage reduction, so I'll just assume that stuns hitting the shield get reduced like any normal shield. At this time, I do not have any information on the duration of either version of NTD, or if they just happen to share a time limit, if there even is one. In lore, NTD can only last for about 5 minutes, but you'll most likely be shot down well before then. Outside of looking refreshing and green, you do not appear to get access to any other abilities with the Awakened Ability Boost skill. Sorry everyone, no time control new type space magic for you. Overall, I like what I'm seeing for Unicorn Gundam so far. I'm a bit worried about it having less range options than new, and unlike Sinaju, it does not have a cheat button that lets it stun during a dash or ignore maneuver armor entirely. I'm kind of thinking Unicorn will have high damage output from the Beam Magnum and Bazooka in its normal mode, and then you pop NTD at low health and take the bad guys to combo town of hard-hitting melee attacks. Then once things get scary and you need to pick me up, you just go green and get ready for another fight. Thanks for watching everyone. Make sure to like, follow, and subscribe, but also check out my channel on Twitch where I make most of my content live. Let me know your thoughts on Unicorn Gundam in the comments below, and I'll see you next time.